Okay, I'm 40. I am a nurse in a neuro-intensive care unit, and I think that is kind of interesting considering my health issue that we're going to discuss in a few minutes. I have a brain tumor that was diagnosed in 2000, and with that, I also have seizures. In 1996, I was working at a local hospital, and my brother was in a different hospital. And I was driving from the hospital where I worked to see my brother. I was sitting in a red light, and all of a sudden, my vision changed. And it was like everything that I saw melted, kind of like wax, and fell to the left, and I couldn't move. And it was over the course of a couple of seconds, and then it went away. So when I went to work the next day, I talked to one of the doctors and I described my symptoms, and he told me that it was a migraine, but I didn't have a headache, and I thought that was kind of weird. So I started looking up the symptoms of migraines, and there are migraines that you can have that you don't have a headache with, but you do have those weird visual changes. So I kind of accepted it and thought, okay, that's fine. So for the next 4 years, I continued to have those symptoms, and I ended up working at a different hospital because my brother was very sick with cancer and moved home to live with my parents, which was several hours away. So I moved home to live with them to help them take care of him. And I asked a couple of different doctors, neurologists, the same questions because I kept having the symptoms, and they also told me the same thing. And I ended up seeing a neurologist, and they ran EEGs, which studied seizures, and nobody was able to catch anything. So a few years later, I ended up working at a different hospital, but I was working in a neuro ICU, and I was talking to a doctor there, and those events became more frequent, sometimes 3 or 4 a day. Um, and so I was talking to him, and he said, "You know, you're just another crazy female having migraine headaches. You need to not worry about it and just get on with your life." I thought that was kind of rude,
Yeah.
but you know, so, but I accepted it and got on with my life. And then I talked to another neurologist in a different group, and he said, "You know, maybe we should get an MRI." Being a nurse, I was like, okay, I don't need an MRI. And eventually they got to the point that they became debilitating where I couldn't even get through a whole day without them occurring just so frequently that I couldn't even function. So I saw that neurologist one day at work, and I said, "You know, this is getting just out of control." And he said, he kind of grabbed me by the arm and he said, "Come on, let's walk down to the MRI scanner. Let's see if they got time to run you through." So we did, and they did run me through, and this is one day I will never forget. And he, um, I came out of the scanner, and he was sitting in a chair backwards, kind of leaning over it, and he said, um, "You've got a tumor." I was like, "What? You're kidding." He's like, "No, you've got a tumor." So I went back to work, and everybody was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I've got a brain tumor." They were, "You want to go home?" I was like, "No, I'll finish my shift."
Wow.
And I kind of went through the next couple of hours numb, and then I decided I needed to go home. So I did. And I ended up having surgery 13 days later, and they removed the tumor.
Yeah.
And then the tumor grew back, and I had 6 months later I had surgery again, and then I started having really, really bad seizures that you could see because all those times that I was having those visual changes, those were actually seizures.
Oh, really?
A type of seizures. So those migraines, crazy woman migraines, those were actually seizures. So then I started having really bad seizures, and I ended up having a third surgery for seizures. And when they went in for that third surgery, they found even more tumor. So I brought you these films that you can take with you.
Okay.
So you can show them and you can see where they removed. This is actually from the first surgery, but everything's on the right side, and I lost a significant portion of the right side of my brain. And you asked me to tell you about myself. The first question, I said I was a nurse, but before I became a nurse, I was an artist. And the right side of your brain is kind of where your art comes from. I lost my. I was a fairly good artist, and I lost all of that ability to be able to draw and paint like I could before. So that was kind of sad for me.
Yeah.
So. The the frontal lobe of your brain kind of it gives you your personality, and it controls your inhibitions. And my mom says that I'm a different person. I don't think I am, but her take on it is you're a different person, but you don't know you're a different person. So I really don't think I am, but I can tell a change in, I used to be very anal retentive, so to speak. Like I have cats. I was so, like, such a neat freak. Like you wouldn't find a cat hair anywhere in my house.
Yeah.
I would get on the floor with a toothbrush and clean, the grout between my top tiles every day. Everything in my house had to be just perfect. I'm not like that anymore. The way I feel about it is, there are more important things in life than cleaning the grout between the tiles. So, I'm a little more laid back, I guess. So I'm just not as, I'm a little more, I'm just more laid back. Every 3 months, the tumor has grown back again. But now it's in an area that is not accessible by surgery, and I can't get chemo and I can't get radiation because where the tumor is, it's any kind of treatment would damage. It's wrapped around a major vessel, so any kind of treatment would damage that vessel, and it could cause me to have a massive stroke. So it's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
And your medicine and stuff that your medicine that you had to take every day. Sorry.
So every 3 months I have to have an MRI to watch to see for growth. Every 3 months I see a neuro-ophthalmologist who they can tell growth of tumor or changes through your eyes. I take a tremendous amount of seizure medications to make sure that I don't have any more seizures, because I do have seizures still. So it's